Hey guys, let's get more news about Miami Heat, but first, don't forget to subscribe and leave your like. 3 reasons to be optimistic about the Miami Heat going into the 2024-25 season. Let's run it back. If you're anything like me, a pickup basketball aficionado who often loses, then this is a phrase you love to hear. Your team just lost, but since there's no one else waiting to play, you get to stay on the court. This phrase evokes a different feeling for many Miami Heat fans. After another offseason in which rival teams improved through external acquisition, the thought of running it back without major roster changes appalls much of Heat Nation. I like to consider myself a glass-half-full type of person. Some may call it blind optimism. I call it guts. With that said, there were developments last season that give legitimate reason to be optimistic about the Heat going forward. This comes with a caveat. I'm operating under the assumption that Jimmy Butler is still one of the best players in the world and that last year's signs of regression can be attributed to the fatigue of back-to-back deep playoff runs. Butler just had his longest offseason in a while, and by all accounts, he is coming into this season motivated. Bam Adebayo, coming off a gold medal with Team USA, is a bona fide star in his own right. It's certainly not all doom and gloom when you have 2 players of this caliber. The Heat's struggle has been surrounding Butler and Adebayo with the right pieces, but looking back on the 2023-24 season, progress was made in this regard. Throughout the Butler and Adebayo era in Miami, one of the most persistent questions has been who the third member of the starting frontcourt should be. In year 5 of this build, that question was finally answered. It's Nikola Jovic. It has been a struggle to find players who have a positive impact on both sides of the ball, but Jovic did exactly that in his second season. He was one of 4 players, Butler, Adebayo, and Kevin Love being the others, on the team to post a positive EPM, estimated plus-minus, on both offense and defense, per dunks and threes. Surrounding Butler and Adebayo with legitimate floor spacers is vital to the Heat's success, as both players operate primarily in the paint. As a team, the Heat had a suboptimal shot distribution, and Jovic will do wonders for that. He was a marksman from 3-point range, shooting 40% on the season. Most importantly, he was willing to take a lot of threes, with 9.1 attempts per 100 possessions. Last season, with Jovic on the court, the Heat's 3-point frequency went up nearly 3%, 79th percentile, per cleaning the glass. It was never a secret that the Heat needed to surround Butler and Adebayo with shooters, but finding ones who are also positives on defense has been extremely difficult. At 6'10", Jovic showed he can hold his own in the post. Basketball Index had him in the 78th percentile in post defense last season, and he allowed 0.58 points per possession guarding post-ups, per NBA stats. Jovic will be spending a lot of time on the court with Adebayo, and his ability to guard opposing centers gives the Heat some much-needed versatility. Adebayo is one of the best perimeter defenders in the NBA, but typically has to guard opposing bigs due to the Heat's lack of size. Putting Adebayo on opposing wings more frequently could be a game-changer for the Heat's defense. Last season, when Jovic shared the court with Butler and Adebayo, the Heat posted a net rating of +11, with both offensive and defensive ratings well above league average, per cleaning the glass. Jovic's development last season made an undeniable impact, and his seamless fit alongside Butler and Adebayo gives reason for optimism. I'm eager to see how the 21-year-old continues to grow. Pacers' past era inspires present. The Paul George era wasn't all bad. Actually, the 2010s Indiana Pacers had more ups than downs. Before the current era of Tyrese Halliburton and Pascal Siakam, George, David West, and Roy Hibbert remind us of a lost game. The Pacers' social media wished their former forward, West, a happy birthday. West turned 44 on Thursday. You can't talk about West without mentioning his Pacers tenure. During the years of the Miami Heat dominating the Eastern Conference with LeBron James, Dwayne Wade, and Chris Bosh, only one team consistently challenged them before they went 2-2 in the NBA Finals. The Pacers clinched 2 consecutive Eastern Conference Finals berths. Unsurprisingly, both trips came against the Heat. West is a big man of the past. Although he had a reasonably effective mid-range game, the Xavier alum did most of his business muddying up the paint on both sides of the basketball. During his New Orleans Hornets tenure, superstars like Dirk Nowitzki felt the wrath of the physically imposing West. Against Miami, West contributed on offense and defense. In his Pacers playoff career, West averaged 15.4 points and 7.5 rebounds. Against the Heat, West eclipsed such averages with 16.4 points. The Pacers never beat the Heat in a series during the Big Three era, but they pushed them to 7 games in 2013. When you think back on the Pacers' 2024 playoff run, remember the recent past. The past playoff results should remind you that the franchise can build a winning team, and the fans should continue pushing for more effort from the executive level. 26-year-old named best trade target for Miami Heat. Most fans feel that the Miami Heat need to make some moves in order to establish themselves as one of the contenders in the East once again. They might have made 2 trips to the NBA Finals this decade, but at the moment, it feels like a number of teams have left them behind. The hope is that the Heat will be much healthier this time around. But even if that turns out to be the case, it will be difficult for them to make a deep playoff run. Of course, if the Heat are able to pull off the right trade, they might launch themselves right back into contention. Zach Lavine of the Chicago Bulls has been heavily linked with them as a possible trade target. New Orleans Pelicans' Brandon Ingram might be an even better option though. In the article 5 Best Targets for the Miami Heat Ahead of 2024-25 Season on Fadeaway World, Eddie Bitar suggested a potential trade offer of Tyler Herro, Jamie Jaquez Jr. and Haywood Highsmith for Ingram. Bitar wrote about Ingram's fit with the Heat. Acquiring Brandon Ingram would give the Miami Heat a versatile scorer who can slot seamlessly alongside Jimmy Butler and Bam Adebayo. In the 2023-24 season, Ingram averaged 20.8 points, 5.1 rebounds, and 5.7 assists per game while shooting 49.2% from the field and 35.5% from three-point range. His offensive arsenal includes a smooth mid-range game, the ability to score in isolation, and a knack for creating shots for his teammates. Ingram's length, 6 feet 8 inches with a 7 feet 3 inches wingspan, also adds defensive versatility, allowing him to guard multiple positions, which fits Miami's switch-heavy defensive scheme. Herro was considered a potential superstar not too long ago. But his numbers have plateaued over the last 3 seasons, and there are concerns that he has hit his ceiling already. While parting ways with Herro would be a difficult choice to make, it is one that a lot of Heat fans have become increasingly open to in recent times. Jaquez Jr. had a fantastic rookie season, and trading him away would be a tough choice to make for sure. He could be a great player with some more experience under his belt. Highsmith is a solid role player for the Heat, and he even started a decent number of games last season and averaged 25.1 minutes in the playoffs. But all things considered, he would be the easiest of the 3 to replace. And you, fan? What do you think of the situation of Zach Lavine? Leave your opinion in the comments.